Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the remote Chicago Small Business Expo. My name is Elisa Sledzinska, and I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Communications and Outreach Division with the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. And I will be moderating our first panel discussion on maximizing government resources for your business. Before we get started, I want to provide some information. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the panel. And now I would like to introduce and welcome our panelists. We have with us Domini Brewton-Gamble from Cook County Small Business Source, Michelle White from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Carol Harris from the U.S. Small Business Administration, and Keith Schlager from the U.S. Small Business Administration. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, thank you.
Morning. So we'll just go around and ask a couple questions so our attendees get familiar with your organizations and the resources you offer. So Michelle, I'll begin with you. Let us shine a spotlight on some of your programs, services, and resources. Which one is your favorite and why?
Well, I would say the Connecting Her to Illinois Business Resources Guide, which is the most in-depth cross-sector business resources tool in the state. This is one of my favorite resources to share. As many of the resources in the statewide tool can be used by business owners and future entrepreneurs from all backgrounds and communities, built this tool as an entrepreneur with different perspectives and goals in mind. It was primarily built to centralize as many resources as possible. Business owners and organizations across the sectors, they don't have time to be spending hours navigating the internet for resources, sending emails, where to find info, or making calls. Many also don't know what they need until they need it or they come across the knowledge. This tool consolidates different Illinois business digital hubs like ShyBiz Hub, Founders Resource Hub, the Illinois Asian American Business Resources Directory, and the Women's Entrepreneurship Hub, which all have different great business resources. This centralized tool also features additional statewide guides that were developed, such as the Financial Capital Guide, the State of Illinois Government Resources Guide, which consolidates all the different state agencies and offices who also have business resources. And it lists information by categories and not by program names, as often those names don't resonate with business owners. In the Federal and Illinois Local Governments Business Resources Guide, which will be updated this spring, this centralized guide includes various federal government agencies, such as the SBA, who provide support to different types of businesses. After reviewing this centralized tool and all the different guides, within it, if you're looking for additional information, please contact me, as my colleagues and I would be more than happy to direct you to the right resource. And I'll shortly put in the chat a link to this guide. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And you took the words right out of me. I see the chat going. People are eager to get that link. So we will be posting that in the chat. And then also for all of our attendees joining us today, post-Expo, we will be sending a resource guide. It will have information on everything we're talking about today, including the organizations and contact information. But I now pass it over to you, Domini, if you want to give an overview of your programs, which one is your favorite and why?
Good morning. Thank you, Alyssa. Again, my name is Domini Gamble. I am the Senior Program Manager. I come out of the Bureau of Economic Development for Cook County, managing of the Cook County Small Business Source. A lot of people say they still haven't heard of us yet, so we still have a lot of work to do. But my favorite resource is the entire program itself. I can't pick one. It will be our wonderful website, which directs you to our intake form. And with that, my most most favorite is our partnership model that we have, where you will be able to sign up through our intake form to get counseling, which would be small business coaching with one of our 13 small business, we call BSO organizations, which are business service organizations who work directly as a partner with the source to provide resources to our small business owners. So those resources come as form of coaching. I heard Michelle state that many of our businesses don't know what they want until they get there. Typically, most business owners, all they know is they need access to capital. But we do know in this field that most people request access to capital, but the groundwork has not been completed to actually access that capital. And that's what our partnerships are there to do. Our partners help them in that coaching session figure out where they are in the process. If we need to take some steps back to actually regroup, realign, to provide the proper resources to, maybe give them homework, help them strategize, help them build whatever planning that they need so that when they are ready to access that capital, they are in a better place to actually receive it. We are trying to get small business owners in a better position of getting a yes than a no. And people don't know my background. I used to be a serial entrepreneur myself. So I started my first business at 5 years old. I had been working in the game until I got in the government almost 10 years ago. I had to put it on pause a little bit. But knowing what the thought process of an entrepreneur is, we don't like coaching. We feel like we know it all. We don't like talking to people. I'm scared you're going to take my idea. But I encourage you to definitely sit down with someone, help them to get you aligned with your business needs, help them make sure that you are on the right path. Sometimes we just jump right in and we jump in with that thought process of that vision, of that dream of starting this business. It's your baby. You know what to do, but as an entrepreneur, I always like to tell people we know how to implement the idea, but we don't necessarily know how to actually start and run a business. And that's what our partners are here to do, is to help those businesses actually put everything in alignment that they would need from start to finish so that they can actually be successful in running that business. And I will drop our website in the chat. Yes.
Well, thank you. Your first business at 5 years old. To our attendees, do not get discouraged. Business ideas come at every age.
Every age. I just had entrepreneur parents, so it was just in me. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. And then finally, over to Keith and Carol with the SBA. If you want to give an overview of some of your programs and services, and if you do have a favorite, please share that.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak with your growing audience. I think I saw the numbers grow from 480 to 479. So hello to everyone in Chicago, and definitely hello to the partners. My name is Carol Harris. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration. And I'm going to suggest that I've got a couple of favorite websites. I'm going to start off with our general website, which is our national website, www.sba.gov. Because our webpage has a wealth of information that's available to whoever decides to go to the website, we have information about our various loan programs, about government contracting assistance, about online training. I think the SBA learning platform is really powerful because whether you're looking to start a business and or expand, the digital learning platform basically has everything that a small business owner may need to educate themselves. Now, I want you to keep in mind, economic development is very local. It's about what's taking place on the corridor, what's taking place along the strip, in the strip mall. So, of course, we always get questions related to access to capital. And that's definitely where my colleague, Keith Schlegel, fits in. Keith, are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us here at the SBA. My name is Keith Schlegel. I work in the Office of International Trade, soon to be called the Office of Manufacturing and Trade. I have been with SBA for just about 2 years now, and I think Carol hit the nail on the head when mentioning getting access to capital. And I think, if you want to know about most of our programs that we can offer, we have a wide variety of them. Initially, we, as the Office of International Trade, focus was to increase the number of U.S. small business exporters and increase the volume of U.S. exports. We were here to, and still are, to enhance the ability of small businesses to compete in the global marketplace. But not all small businesses are exporters. In fact, a lot of small businesses are manufacturers, contractors, wholesale traders. And through our programs, we've been able to develop a kind of newer, enhanced program that would allow small businesses to get access to capital. Our new program that I would like to highlight is our Working Capital Pilot Program, often referred to as WCP. And it's a great program because it provides a small business the ability to get access to capital earlier on in a project or in a contract that they have. Typically, when a small business is selling to a buyer, they often have a very difficult time accessing the collateral that they have for that project because they have these accounts receivables and inventory that it puts a strain on their cash position, right? Their cash flow. So our working capital pilot program allows the borrower, the small business, to use our program with their lender to get access to capital early on in the project. It can cover, in most cases, up to 100% of the cost of goods, and it could cover work in process. So really, the small business could get access to capital earlier on in the project before any billing or asset is created. It's very key for them to get access to capital to allow them to take on larger projects and to sustain their business. And like I said, our big focus right now is on manufacturing. You may have heard about the Made in America Manufacturing Initiative. We really are putting a lot of focus on getting small businesses access to capital, and the Working Capital Pilot Program is a great tool for that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. The topic of access to capital, kind of heard it through each of our panelists. It's wonderful to hear, these resources available at the federal level, Cook County level, state level, and obviously a slight shameless plug over at BACP with some of our resources at the city. So obviously this webinar, our expo, is being held today. We host a couple other throughout the year, but we also host webinars twice a week on different topics, including access to capital. Our partners on this panel have presented for us in the past. We also oversee what we call neighborhood business development centers, which are your chambers of commerce, business service organizations at the local level. They're in the community, available to help out, kind of direct you to some of the resources that you're hearing from our panelists today. And now I will bounce back to you, Michelle. Who is your target audience, and how can the resources you offer benefit them?
DCO, the state, we support business owners from all backgrounds, communities. And within DCO, I'm part of the Illinois Office of Economic Equity and Empowerment, or OE3 for short. And we're focused on minorities, women, veteran-owned small businesses, businesses owned by persons with disabilities, eligible not-for-profit corporations, and other served communities throughout Illinois. Our resources and programs are tailored for those communities. And from our national research, we're the only office of our kind amongst any U.S. state governments. I've actually had, cross-sector leaders from different states and cities, like asking how they could try to replicate what we've done here in Illinois. But, for those tailored programs and resources, for example, we host month-long celebration events focused on business owners. In honor of March Women's Her Story Month, we have a dedicated webpage tailored for Illinois women business owners, which includes a variety of different resources and directories, such as directories of women-owned businesses that you could support in your communities and during your travels throughout the year. And I'll put that in the chat shortly. Next month is Arab American Heritage Month. So we'll have a webpage dedicated for Arab American business owners. As I mentioned, our month-long celebrations offer tailored resources for different communities throughout the year. My teammates, we have a different focus. So, my focus is women entrepreneurs throughout the state from all backgrounds, communities, and I also support business owners from all backgrounds. But my statewide teammates, we have Deanna Alfaro, who's the state's liaison to the Latinx and Hispanic-owned entrepreneurial ecosystem. We'll be having a new colleague joining us soon who will be the state's liaison to the African-American entrepreneurial ecosystem. My colleague, Ed Tumlos, who's the state's liaison to the Asian American and Pacific Islander entrepreneurial ecosystem. He's on leave, so on medical leave, but I'm supporting the AAPI community. So we have a very unique lens of helping business owners from different communities. Last month I hosted, a webinar just focused on resources from veteran-owned businesses. So those are the communities that we support throughout the state.
Wow, really run the gamut there. And I absolutely love that you honor and recognize the different months. It's not only a wonderful way to uplift our entrepreneurs, but you kind of said it, right? Each group kind of has different needs, and to be able to tailor those resources is very important. So appreciate your work there. Domini, I'll pass it over to you. Who is your target audience, and how can the resources you offer benefit them?
Our target audience is every business owner, entrepreneur, every stage of business, from those who are starting out to those who are looking for succession planning. They're looking to close those mom and pops that's been open for 10 to 20 years. But through our data, we have seen and learned that most of our business owners have 10 or fewer employees. So our target audience is the small business owner. I just want to just take a step back. So we work in a partnership model that I feel is really conducive to the small business needs. I think it would be easy for a small business owner to receive assistance through us, through this model. So we are partnered with those 13 BSOs, but we also have over 40 referral partners that are connected to us throughout Cook County and the suburban areas. So that's over 50 partners who actually direct small businesses to direct assistance, events, webinar trainings, cohorts, whatever small business honestly needs. We are also tapped in with UWAD, VACP in the state of Illinois, the SBA. We make sure that we highlight everyone's work. If it's something that's related to small business owners, if it's a free access and a free opportunity, you are able to get access to that offering on our events page on our website. I always like to say we are not competing for businesses here. I'm a Chicago born and raised, and I love how we have a family mindset here. What they say, 3 degrees of separation in Chicago, someone always knows someone that you know. And in this business, I am learning, we're all working with each other. So the resources that we provide and the opportunities and the communities that we work with is literally everyone. We have a really diverse offering. We just signed on 2 new BSOs. One is the Chinese Mutual Aid. We also signed on Builders Avenue. We're looking to tap more into the solar space. We're going to be starting a new solar project called Solar Synergy coming down the pipeline this summer. We also work with the Asian American chambers. We work pretty much with everyone in the small business space because we know that everyone needs this assistance. So there is no one and done. There is no perfect business structure. That's why I say the coaching is needed, is there, is free, because you never know when you might need some assistance with your small business. We're finding that business who have been up and running for 20 years, especially when you go looking for access to capital, you find out that you missed 1 or 2 steps and now you might need some help so that we can get you where you need to go. So the resources that we provide is a multitude. And again, I'm going to keep plugging is free. No one believes the free, but I know that everyone on here, everything pretty much that most is being provided, especially through us, is free. We are not able to charge, so please tap in.
Thank you so much. And once again, to underscore that free, all of these resources. And you said it very eloquently, right? We're here about collaboration, not competition. All of these resources from all different levels of government are here for our attendees, for the city of Chicago, the state, federal level as well. We're really here to support you guys. And I'll pass it over to you, Carol and Keith. Who is your target audience and how do your resources benefit them?
Okay. So I would suggest our target audience is definitely all existing small businesses and pre-venture businesses within the state of Illinois. So SBA is a federal agency. So what we're looking to do is to serve across the country. So we have some uniform programs, but in addition, we always consistently work with our partners in what I would describe as the Illinois ecosystem. And that ecosystem for us includes resource partners that are funded and unfunded. So let me give you an example. We work directly with BACP, and again, appreciate the invitation, by which we're going to look to speak with the Chicago area audience and try to provide assistance in the form of webinars, workshops, attending the Small Business Expos. But across the state, what we do is we work with resource partners. And here in Illinois, we have a network, and it includes approximately 11 Apex accelerators. It includes 6 international trade centers, and it includes 41 small business development centers across the state of Illinois. There's actually 37 centers, but there's 41 sites. 2 of the small business development centers actually have 2 additional sites. Let me give you an example. It is Women's History Month. So the Women's Business Development Center, okay, is a small business development center, but they also host a women's business center. They advocate for women's business ownership and their interests. It also includes a procurement technical assistance center. Oops, they're now called Apex Accelerators. And there's some other sites as had been mentioned, for instance, the Chinese Mutual Aid Society, by which there may be an international trade center. There are 6 international trade centers. I think it's really important to say there's also 5 SCORE chapters throughout Illinois. So in this ecosystem, we know that their assistance through mentors and advisors, they're going to provide problem-solving assistance to help small businesses access capital, to develop and exchange new technologies. They're going to help with planning like business strategies and solutions and operations. They're going to assist with financial management, personnel administration. You may have an issue where you're looking to use a software program and perhaps they can assist you with that, or perhaps they can assist with helping with management and technical assistance to find procurement people. So we know that small businesses need help with their growth and with their expansion and with management involvement and increased productivity. And so we know that these centers and that these business advisors basically provide problem-solving assistance. What's really important to say is that the services are free. So I want to give you an example of something that we see on a regular basis at our illinois.do@sba.gov mailbox. We see between 15 and 20 inquiries per day, okay? So we're talking 100 plus inquiries per week. On a regular basis, we're responding to those inquiries to make referrals to the BACP neighborhood business development centers. We're providing assistance in the form of making referrals to the SBDCs and or to school. We're also sharing information related to Lender Match, which is an online technical program by which a small business owner can put in basic information about their small business and seek to find lenders that might be interested in their small business. Absolute worst case scenario, if they don't match, please know that local development assistance based upon the zip code is provided to the small business owner. And we think that these are some ways by which we can utilize technology and expand the ecosystem to make certain that the small business owner is able to get the resources that they need to move forward with their idea, with their project, with the growth of their small business.
I can pick it up real quick from there, Lisa, and well said, Carol. I think one of the key points there, and as far as who's our target audience is, and I think taking upon what Carol and everyone else said is preparing yourself as a business to get yourself ready to be presented in front of the lender. Because at the end of the day, who's going to provide that capital? It's going to be the bank that lends you or provides you a line of credit. And I think using the resources that are out there is going to make you as a small business or an entrepreneur more lender ready. And going to something like Lender Match is a great tool. I myself also work with lots of lenders and know which lenders utilize a lot of the SBA programs. And I think a lot of banks out there may or may not do that. So, tapping into the resources within the trade ecosystem is very vital for you as a small business to educate yourself and then make yourself ready for a lender. So when maybe you're talking to someone like me who works as a finance manager, I can find the right banks for you to get access to capital. The target audience, I think Domini said it nicely, is all small businesses. Really, we look at it agnostically. We want to help small businesses under the SBA, rules for a small business. It could vary, but we want to help them get access to capital and grow. I mean, that's the objective of why we were put here. Right now, manufacturing is a buzzword. We're really looking to help support manufacturers, made in America, really kind of grow and drive, the manufacturers here in America to bolster our economy. But at the end of the day, we're here to help support all small businesses, and navigate them through this trade ecosystem. It may be somewhat daunting for them as they go out and try to figure out what to do. At the end of the day, pick up the phone, call one of us, email one of us. We'll be here to help you guide through that ecosystem. Thanks.
So can I say something really quick, just listening to everyone? So just listening to Carol and Keith, it just made me really think about how we are, as I stated, our collaboration cycle here within this small business. A lot of the names that you stated are also partners of mine. All of our partners are pretty much SBDCs and Apex accelerators. We are partnered with a lot of those banks that Keith mentioned, the Bank of America's, PNC, Women's Bank, all of those. Our partners, one of them is WBDC, Allies for Business. I mentioned Chinese Mutual, IHCC, CMSDC, who also helps with manufacturing. So we are working, all of us collaboratively are working with some of the best small business organizations who have been around for over 20 plus years, 30, 50, Chicago Urban League, who's been doing this work for many, many years as well. And they know what they're doing. So when we get to the point of, and I'm just reiterating this for our small business owners because you're getting a lot of information, and I know that it can be, oh my God, where do I start? I want to do this and how. This is, again, I'm going to keep pushing. The resources we have are free. The coaching is free. Having that coaching capability aligns you to be able to talk to someone and sit you down and be ready to work with someone like Keith. They're offering great support, great resources, but you might not know how to get started, where to get started, what to pull out for your information, how to get your paperwork aligned. And that's when you can tap into these partners that we have. Even with the Illinois DCO. I've worked with you all as well. Great programs there as well. Everyone is offering these tools, these resources. Please tap in. We do pretty much work with all of the same partners, and they are all certified, aligned. They have great trainings, great cohorts, so that you are ready and prepared to work with Michelle, Carol, Keith, and myself. So to help take your business to the next level. So I just wanted to call it out for them.
Oh, thank you for that. And absolutely, a lot of the partners that we're all saying, they work with all of our agencies. And that just means more resources on the ground for small business owners, right? And from kind of what you're saying, from the beginning stages of idea to potentially growing to manufacturing, selling statewide, nationwide, that's, obviously a goal that we all hope that we can achieve through just giving resources out. All right, our next question, Michelle. is what have you seen as the biggest challenge to small businesses, and how is your organization helping address this or other challenges?
Well, besides financial capital, which is a major challenge, it's also another challenge that we don't talk enough about is the access to social capital, which are the networks. Many small business owners don't have the social capital networks, which includes like mentors, advisors, and sponsors, those sponsors who could speak on your behalf when you're not in the room. The state, through DCO, we've addressed this in, a variety of ways, and I'll just share a few of them. First, we'll make introductions for you, so if both those parties have the bandwidth to connect. And as all as my fellow panelists who are, great leaders in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, as they've all shared, we'll all make those connect you to the right resource and person. We at DCO through the OE3 office, we created the Social Capital for Her Illinois Business Guide. In this statewide tool, which will be updated this spring, you will find a list of mentoring programs, which are also known as accelerators, boot camps, cohorts, and fellowships. We list them in categories such as by industries, by different communities, and different regions. And this social capital guide also includes many, like hundreds of organizations and links to their upcoming events. As we all know that, some of these events, it could lead to making new connections. One never knows when and how those contacts could help them in their entrepreneurial journey. So I will put that in a guide shortly. Then we have a guide just focused on Illinois organizations. Again, it lists hundreds of amazing organizations, cross-sector organizations throughout the state who support business owners. And so we have direct links to their upcoming events and programs. Then we also have, tailored, e-blast, where and I'll put that in the chat, the e-blast, where I include, those social capital, such as mentoring application, programs, and a variety of information. So that's another way that we tackle, sharing that information in those e-blast. And then DCO, through the OE3 office, we also tackle this challenge. We have 4 statewide business collectives throughout the state. And so I lead the Illinois Women's Business Collective. And these are, consist of cross-sector organizations throughout the state who are doing amazing work supporting, in my case, women, entrepreneurs. And we identify the gaps of programs and services and a variety of other issues. And we join forces. So we're not recreating the wheel, and we're sharing, information and collaborating. In fact, our statewide business collectives, they were recognized by the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, their national report last year, and they were impressed. They've never seen any, state government bring the ecosystem together like we do. So they, highlighted that work in their national report. So that's one of the biggest challenges, that I see.
Great, thank you so much. And just so everyone knows, once again, there will be a Q&A session at the end of the panel. So we'll be going through some of your questions. But first, Domini, what do you see as the biggest challenge to small businesses, and how is your organization addressing those challenges?
Thank you. So we're seeing a few challenges that come about within our small business community that we've been tracking. One of the major challenges I'll start with is, and this is why I keep actually pushing this coaching, is a big gap is when it comes time to start work, a lot of businesses honestly do not have a business license, which comes to you, BACP, which I'm sure you know, right? So when it comes time to getting those government grants and trying to qualify, a lot of businesses do not. You'll find out that they do not have a business license. It might have lapsed. They might have never actually completed that process. They just actually started the business and been going and moved a little faster than anticipated. We're also finding a lot of businesses and business owners, they are not filing their taxes. So again, when it comes to government grants, you are not going to be able to qualify for those access to capital opportunities that come by way of government funding grants if you have not filed your taxes. That is very important. we're also, so within that scope, I'll talk on that first. Within that aspect, what we found that we needed to do is our advisors within our partnership model, our business service organizations, we came together. We will meet actually every week. I meet with my business advisors, and we had a discussion on this. And the best thing that we found that we needed to do was take a step back. And this is how the cohorts, as well as the events, we had a lot of events that we started planning even throughout the source. A lot of our advisors, 36 Squared. We just started hosting a lot of events and trainings to try to get our small businesses up to scale to where they needed to be to close these gaps so that they would be more aligned when these opportunities came down the line. We started hosting events like Getting Grant Ready. Getting Grant Ready was really making sure that you had your taxes together, had your paperwork together. We were hosting in-person sessions, sit-down sessions. We started hosting events. I know one of our organizations, the SDA in the Southland area, hosts a wonderful tax program. The WBDC is hosting a wonderful tax program. I forgot one of our other partners as well. Really just doing the basics of how to do business taxes. I know a lot of people don't think that that's important, but it is. We learned a lot about that when we did a few partner events also with some of our bank partners. They talked about the need for taxes. They do ask for that paperwork when you are trying to even get a business loan. So that space right there, I think, is key to speak on, is not having that foundational piece completed when it comes to business ownership. So then also we're learning the new ask is marketing. A lot of people with AI jumping in, they need to learn how to align their business in the marketing sector. We are really seeing an influx of business owners asking us on how to assist them with marketing their business, branding their business, how to use AI for their business. So Chicago Urban League, as well as Berwyn Business Development Corporation, has been great in that space for us, hosting small business cohorts and teachings and webinars on marketing, how to market your business using AI. I mean, top notch. I took those classes. I've learned so much on these chat GBTs and everything else that I didn't like. So, but it's things that we don't think about as business owners, or even us in this space, advocating for this small business ecosystem here, throughout the state of Illinois, Cook County, Chicago, the little small details that these business owners really need to help leverage their business and take it to the next level. You will always need to know how to market your business. We saw that in COVID. People needed to know how to shift that business and even create maybe a new notch in their business plan. You initially started with one idea, but when the country shut down, especially we saw it in the restaurant industry, if you didn't know how to pivot, those businesses unfortunately closed. So, we know even in the marketing sector, when I started being a small business strategist in 2005, I saw a lot of business owners not putting bucketing money out for marketing. When they would budget out their money, it would never be in the marketing sector. They never thought that it was needed. They didn't think they need webinars. They didn't think that they needed to advertise. It's whatever. I use word of mouth only. Well, when we had an incident like COVID, word of mouth wasn't going to work because no one's out, no one's speaking, no one's moving. There was no additional opportunities. So learning how to leverage your business in marketing, especially using AI right now, that's the new thing. I think everyone just needs to make sure that they stay scaled up. So we're making sure that our business advisors are scaled up. They come to us, they ask us to help them learn whatever new thing is out there, and I'll bring in trainers to train my business advisors up. So when they're sitting there and they're talking to our business clients, we know collectively that everyone is aligned, everyone is on the same page, and those business clients in Cook County are getting the best professional training that they could be getting, as well as advice. So that's what we're doing in Cook County. We're especially making sure that we're leveraging our BSO advisors to make sure that they are in line, they're in tune with what's going on. When we have our meetings, the first thing I say to them is, you have the ears to the ground. Let me know what you're hearing, what's coming in, what are the asks, has anything changed? What can I do to help you better offer these services to your small business clients? And I've brought everyone in from different banks. I've brought people in from the solar space. I've brought manufacturing, because we have a manufacturing and vending program with Cook County as well, veteran business owners. I have had our business advisors trained up in every aspect of business that any small business owner would need. So that's just to make sure that we are providing you the right services to help you scale your business.
Thank you so much for that thorough response. We do often hear is access to capital being the first need, or I should also say first challenge, right? But you kind of exploring marketing was really insightful, so thank you. And really quick to all of our attendees, you did hear licensing being mentioned. If you're ever uncertain, here over at City Hall in our Small Business Center, we have business consultants, and they can actually walk you through the licensing process. If you're not sure what type of license, do I need a City of Chicago license or a State of Illinois license? You know, do I need anything from the federal level? We're able to assist and obviously connect you then to the right people as well. And we'll put that in the chat as well. And Carol and Keith, what do you see as a challenge to small business owners right now? And how's the SBA addressing those challenges?
So Keith, I'm going to start and ask you to also address the question.
Sure.
Again, it's always going to be access to capital. That's the real issue. Over and over again, we hear so many questions related to access to capital. So I really want to co-sign with Michelle in saying the state has a lot of really good programs in place right now. No doubt about it, especially related to access to capital, because we get questions related to grants. And more often than not, what we try to explain to small business owners is that when it comes to grants, they're local. So you're going to need to speak with your county, with your state, with your township to look for that type of funding. I would also suggest that Ms. Gamble is on point when she mentioned, and this is so important, you have to have your paper together, whether it be your certifications and or your licensing. And again, if you're looking to incorporate, if you're looking to do some things that require a lot of paperwork, that tends to be local. So that's going to take place at the state, at the county level, like with the Illinois Department of Revenue or the Secretary of State. But then again, we're also telling small business owners consistently, you want to connect in with the city. Why? Because BACP works through licensing. But the second thing that I'm going to suggest is that there has to be a solid plan to achieve what it is that the small business owner says that they want to achieve. And so when I talk about the Illinois district office and what we're looking to do to address the challenge, this is what I would suggest. We have an Are You Lender Ready series that's looking to launch, by which we are working with lenders. Right now, we are actually conducting what are known as lender forums and or banker forums, by which we're talking with small business lenders. And we've actually put together a slide deck that we're looking to share with smaller audiences to talk with small businesses about getting lender ready. Related to sort of Financial Literacy Month, which is the month of April, there's this whole spectrum by which small business owners and we in society have to demonstrate financial literacy, whether it's personally, professionally, and working through building up our wealth and our assets. And so what takes place with Illinois is we do have some webinars that are set up for Financial Literacy Month, which is the month of April. We would suggest that you take a look at the website, sba.gov/IL for details. I can tell you that we've got some events planned with the Chicago Public Library. And again, you can take a look at our website as to the dates and times. And then finally, I think this is really important. It's kind of different. But when you try to work through sort of this self-promotion, lifelong learning, and you're looking to see, how can I pull together a pricing plan? I'm going to suggest you take a look very simply at our learning platform, because it might be 2:00 in the morning where you've got something that's just driving you, where you're trying to figure out how to resolve a problem. And with the learning platform, it's not so much chatbots or anything like that. It's very simply less than 30-minute short videos that provide concise information point by point as to, for instance, how to put together a small business plan, a marketing plan, how to price a product. So just take a look again, that's the www.sba.gov. And again, it's available 24 hours a day. Keith, what would you suggest?
Well, I think you mentioned, are you lender ready? And I really feel that that's very critical. And I know I mentioned it earlier, and I'll probably mention it again because I think it's a very important piece for a small business to be lender ready. You don't want to present yourself in front of a lender, and when they ask, how much do you need? You say, how much can you give me? As a small business, you need to be aware of what you need to help support your business. So as far as one of the biggest challenges for small businesses is finding the right lender and finding the right relationship with a financial institution. I hope that your bank today would offer you the services that we provide, because really it comes in tandem. You know, we're not the direct lender. We work with the lender, but we provide them our government guarantee on the term loan or line of credit that they provide you. There's a lot of different opportunities out there for you, whether you need to purchase equipment or a larger facility that requires more of a term loan, or you have short-term capital needs, like the working capital needs and access to capital to provide purchasing raw material, hiring more employees, just the overall working capital needs that you have as a business. That's a line of credit that banks will provide, and having the right lender that could provide that to you with support from the SBA, because at the end of the day, we're enhancing your capabilities of getting access to more capital. You may be able to get a conventional line of credit today with a bank, but you may need more to support a larger contract. So a big challenge is to have the right financial institution that can give you those opportunities. I myself find a lot of the larger banks tend not to get in the realm of these types of programs, not saying that they can't or will at some point, but my goal is to help educate them and provide them the understanding of how they should be able to do this to help support the small businesses that bank with them. But if you don't have a bank that provides those opportunities for you, that's part of my role as well, is to foster those relationships with financial institutions, to educate them about our programs that we have to offer to help you as a small business and an entrepreneur.
I just want to add this one other comment about this network. And I think this is really, really important. It's something that Keith offered. It's something that Ms. Gamble mentioned and Ms. White touched on. Lots of times, small business owners really make solid decisions with a group of advisors. And this whole process of advisory assistance is so very important. And you want to work with trusted advisors. And this was hinted on. You don't want to operate in a silo by which you're making these decisions and you don't trust anyone, but you're directing your team and or you actively do not know where to seek some assistance. And for our programs with our SCORE counselors, with our SBDC directors and advisors, there's actually a process by which they talk about privacy concerns and the fact that the information that is shared, okay, is only shared to help you get to the next level. But there is a privacy provision by which you understand that your information that may be trademarked, it may be very specific, it's not going to be shared across a platform by which business resources are provided, but instead there's going to be privacy. And I think that's really super important. But I think the other thing that you got to understand is it's really important to have some trusted advisors surrounding you. Super, super, super important, whether that's an accountant that's helping you with the tax concern, or whether it is the process of working through licensing and or certifications and or that plan where you have a business plan, but perhaps you need to get to a contracting plan. So please utilize the resources in this ecosystem. Please recognize that there's larger ones, which are federal, that, this is that spectrum, that there are state that are specific to the state of Illinois, that there are city programs and assistance that's available. And what you're looking to do is perhaps execute at different levels in this spectrum so that you can grow your business, so that you can resolve that issue, so that you can move forward in operating as a successful small business. Why? Because each successful small business really engages and improves the economic arena across the city and across the state, and obviously because you're making money. That's the whole point. You're making money, and you're also employing people. And that is super, super important to build up the ecosystem within the state of Illinois and specifically within the city of Chicago. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Carol and Keith. In the interest of time, we have about 10 minutes left. There is one more question I want to address with all of our panelists and leave a little bit of time for Q&A. Obviously, tons of questions coming in. For those seeking direct links or information on how to connect with our panelists, we will be sending a resource guide after the expo. And if you look through the chat, we've been inserting links over and over. Hopefully you're catching them. We'll be doing that throughout the expo. But I'm going to end with our final question of, first to you, Michelle. If there was only one thing you hope the people in the audience today do as a result of our conversation, what would it be?
I would say please leverage, all these free resources and leaders such as my fellow panelists, which, I think that they all mentioned earlier. We can empower you with this knowledge and make introductions for you, but it's up to you, the business owner and the future entrepreneurs, to actually utilize them.
Great, thank you. Domini? One thing you hope people in the audience will take away from this conversation?
Miss Carol hit it for me. I was already in that vein. Build your relationships. Build your relationships with your trusted advisor. Find you someone that you trust that can help walk you through this process. Through finding you, build that relationship with your tax account. Build that relationship with your banker. Definitely want to build that bank relationship. Why is this important? Because what Keith was talking about, as far as being bank ready, lender ready, grant ready, just having your business ready, you need to have trusted people in your back pocket that you can tap into when you need to go to the next level. If there's a question that you have, you need to have someone in your back pocket that you trust, that can advise you, that can help you take those steps, that can sit down with you, that can guide you along this journey of entrepreneurship and being a business owner. So I'm definitely going to say continue to build those relationships. This is the right step. You're learning and getting all the resources. Now it's time to build so that you can grow.
Thank you. And Keith and Carol, what is one thing you hope people in the audience today take away from our conversation?
I'm going to suggest a couple things. One is, please know that the Illinois District Office is open for, and we are doing business. As I'm certain you all are aware, in the government arena right now, there's definitely a lot of changes. Please know very specifically that there's 23 dedicated professionals that are reporting into our office. We're on South Michigan Avenue, 332, and we actually have 8 different departments for the agency reporting in. And believe it or not, we are training and learning from each other. And that is so very important. We have a grants management specialist that's in right now. And she's just been terrific for us to better understand what is the national grants management approach and what's specifically the Illinois approach related to some aspects of grants management related to our agency, SBA. So I think it's really important to just know that we are open for business. We are doing business. We are responding. And we do have 23 focused professionals. And then the second thing is, I'm going to say this over and over again. If it's no or low cost, please utilize the business development resources. I know next up, I think SCORE is listed, the Women's Business Development Center. I think in the future, As mentioned, there's going to be some banker forums by which small business owners can attend in May. We've got National Small Business Week coming up, where we'll look to program across the city and the state, which is the first full week of May. And then in additional, related to financial literacy, again, there'll be a number of different workshops that take place at the city, at the state, at the county, at the township, and definitely at the federal level. And so what you want to do is engage those resources and make certain that you keep working on your business, keep revising it, keep working, and utilize the resources. Thank you.
I'll be quick here, Elisa, because I know we're short on time, but I probably reiterating what everyone else says, but reach out early and often. Make sure that when you're looking to get funding, that you're not waiting until you have a contract in front of you to ask for funding, because it may not happen quick enough for you to get the funding you need to fulfill that contract. So make sure that you have these relationships established, that you've reached out to the ecosystem. So reach out early and often and use those resources to help guide you.
Great, thank you. We will do a few questions from our audience. And Keith, since you're kind of talking about the finance aspect, I'm going to ask you this question of,
Okay.
Are there any resources that can help with completing grant applications?
Well, actually, I think Carol may be better to answer that question, because there's a lot of grant applications available, both city, statewide. There are specific grants that small businesses can get related to exporting that's administered by the state of Illinois. It's called the State Trade Expansion Program, often referred to as STEP. And they could access that grant to help them in their ability to be a better exporter. So it help them find international buyers, help them with international trade missions, website translations and stuff like that. So that's specific to being an exporter, but there may be various other grants available to them. Carol, I don't know if you're aware of any other grants that you may want to allude to, or maybe Domini or Michelle may have some other suggestions as well.
I'll make this real quick. I can't tell you that I am on the national level, but consistently when grant requests come in, and they do come in, okay, I'm making referrals to, first of all, the state, just because the state has some really good grant opportunities that are available for small businesses. However, small businesses do have to register, and I would strongly suggest that you take a look at the DCEO website, because they have a number of videos by which a small business owner can prepare and get certified. And that is super, super important. And then again, a lot of economic development assistance is local. So perhaps the city has a few. I'm going to step back from that. Perhaps the county has a few. And then of course, there's usually always in the background some agencies and or not-for-profits that may have some grant money available based upon the group, based upon the not-for-profits focus in the marketplace, and as to whether or not the small business can find the opportunity and definitely perhaps deliver a product or a service to that not-for-profit. But honestly, at this point, I am not familiar of any national grants related to the U.S. Small Business Administration or the federal agencies.
Thank you. Domini, I see your hand up.
Yes, and let me just confirm, your question was as a request on how to complete grants, correct?
Yes. Any assistance for grant applications? So maybe walking through a sit down.
Yes. So a few things. One, I would say, get out of your head that you can't do the grant. A lot of the grants that came down the pipeline recently were very easy. We saw a lot of people going to their tax accountants and things like that who did assist them in completing their grants. But a lot of these grants that recently have come down the pipeline, government grants, have been very easy to maneuver through. Just a few questions for you to attest for your business. So read it first and make sure that you need assistance first. Don't tell your yourself that you can't do it and you miss an opportunity, because most of the questions there were really basic questions about your business that you could have completed on your own. That's one. Two, we've been running a few events. You can find them on our website. I do know one of our BSO organizations, Chicago Minority Supplier, just completed a how to do complete grants, how to do grant cohort session. It was free, I believe, where people were able to come a few times to actually learn how to complete grants. So look out for that. Do your research. Have you also a grant writer in your back pocket? If you are, that's another relationship that needs to be built. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you're not a good writer, budget out some money for a grant writer. They can assist you. If you know someone in your family, a friend, whoever that is a good writer, maybe they can help you. You know, there's a lot of different avenues on how you can actually help yourself write these grants. But my first thing I would say is look at the grant and read it through, because they're really not as detailed as they used to be, but they are very basic at this point. So check them out, and if you need help, find you a coach that can help walk you through the process. I do know some of our advisors have in the past assisted many of our small business owners with completing grants. They're not all, you know, versed in that area, but we do have many that can. So just wanted to call that out there. Look out for those free classes that people offer on how to write grants as well, and you might want to take some time to actually attend some of those as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that information. I'm seeing obviously a lot more questions coming in. We do need to wrap up the panel, but I do want to address several questions about, are these resources available only for businesses in the city of Chicago, only in the state? You know, how far does the reach go? And reaching out to any of our panelists today, they will be able to direct you to the resources that you need. Don't worry about, you know, seeming like a bother, or, you know, I'm seeing some questions about for specifically like women-owned businesses. Feel free to reach out to any of us, and we can guide you to the correct resources you need. So thank you so much to all of our panelists today. Once again, from the federal level down to the city level, these resources are available for free to all of our attendees. We will be sharing a resource guide after the expo, and it'll have all the information. You've seen some contact information being shared as well in the chat. But thank you again for sharing your expertise with our audience today. We really appreciate it.
No problem. And I'll try to go in and answer some of those questions that are online that I see are related to SBA.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So to all of our attendees, we hope you did find the session useful. We will take a short break, but join us in about 5 minutes for our next session, which is Show Me the Money, Funds at the Local Level, a theme we heard in the previous panel. So stay tuned for information. And if you do need to view the agenda, it is available at chicago.gov/bizexpo. Thank you, everyone, and stay tuned for the next panel.